So Erlang is a programming language designed for concurrency. So it solves, it's one of those where, you know, we say, well, all the tools are the same, syntax is different. Now, actually, in Erlang, some of the composition and how you solve problems is different. The entire approach is quite a bit different. So I would say the difference between something like C#, Ruby, Haskell, and Erlang, Haskell being a functional language, Erlang being a highly concurrent language, Ruby being dynamic, and C#, well, C# being a mix between dynamic and static, depending on what you're using. So the question is, what's coming out that's making a difference? I think Erlang is going to make a major difference because we have huge amounts of processes that we have to get done. We've basically exceeded or reached some of the limits of our physical material and building processors.
I'm actually fascinated by the sheer size that we're beginning to see in some of the systems that are out there, and the amount of data they're handling. Things like Facebook and Google, where you're talking about 500 million users' data and their posts, their statuses, their chats, all that sort of stuff on Facebook. It requires some interesting new ways of thinking in order to achieve things at that scale. And so I'm fascinated by some of the things coming out of the Amazons and the Googles, and even Yahoo's as well. Things like Hadoop, protocol buffers, these sort of things that I think are a little bit different. They're different than a lot of the traditional methods and things we've been doing and the way we've been doing stuff. And really taking some of the notions of concurrency and that sort of stuff and say, well, how do we really make that happen across all these environments and all these users and all these systems? And that's interesting to me because I think we're at a point where we kind of needed to evolve to the point where we could handle data sets that are that large. I don't know that 10 years ago we could have done data sets that are that large, both from physical, processors get faster, but also, we've had to start thinking about these design patterns and how we design at incredible scale, not just scale, but incredible scale. And some of the technologies coming out of that are pretty interesting to me, and I think it's going to be interesting to see the direction they go as they start feeding into this whole cloud computing and what really happens with cloud computing. So far cloud computing has just been this, we're going to install VMware, we're going to virtualize our physical hardware, which is great. It's been big cost savings to a lot of companies, but what's the next step? And I think some of the stuff coming out of Facebook and Google about the way we handle these incredibly large data sets and the way data flows is going to feed into that. It's going to be interesting to see as more of the it's in the cloud starts materializing and what that looks like.
The things that are important now in the enterprise level are good old-fashioned information integration. This is technologies that have been in the pipeline cooking for the last 20 years, right? That have now made it to real commercial products that an enterprise without star programmers, because quite frankly, Amgen doesn't have a lot of people I could point to and say, you're a star programmer, right? Can take and use and apply to the business. Mobile computing, and I don't mean people using their BlackBerry, I don't mean consumer mobile computing, I mean, how does a sales rep use a mobile device to increase sales or save on the cost of printing brochures and things like that, or get the latest technical or medical information to the person they're talking to. Virtualization is really important, as enterprises try to lower their cost of ownership, they're looking more and more at software as a service providers and infrastructure as a service providers. And with that comes identity management. So identity management federation, if you want to know the one thing that we have see a real lack in people who understand how to actually program and do, and that's the federated identity management and digital leakage protection. Those kinds of things are really important at the enterprise level.